Oh, welcome. Welcome to Art with Ann. We're going to do a really fun, quick project that kind of focuses on spring because I think we can all look forward to seeing that after this long, hard winter. So we're going to work pretty quick here. These are things that you should have at your house. You're going to need wax paper, strips of wax paper. You maybe need a pair of scissors. You're going to need what we used to call pipe cleaners, but now they call them chenille something, but just, these long fuzzy things that we use as crafts. And if your parents drink coffee, they're going to be a little maybe nervous about you taking their coffee filters, but we're going to use coffee filters for the creation of these flowers that you're going to make. And I'm going to show you a couple that are done. Here's one here. And that was done with, and you're going to make one that's similar to this. I'm going to show you how to make one. Here's another one that has different things. This one was done with just like two of them. And then we have the last one as a demonstration, that one that has leaves around it, if you want to have leaves around it. So those are going to be put aside for right now. And I'm going to show you kind of what you have to do. You're also going to need a spray bottle of water. If you've got a sprayer that you can spray water with. And the main thing you're going to need is some water-based markers. Crayola markers work really well, but if you have any other kind, any other brand, that works too, but it has to be water-based. So for your first step, what I'm going to show you is how you're going to do one of these first. And actually, you know what? Yes, I'm going to show you how to do one of these, okay? So the colors that you're going to choose should be colors, and I will give you that. I want to make sure you can see it. Colors that are compatible with each other. And so what I'm going to have you start to do is just use one to start. Just use three colors, the primary colors that are the colors that make every other color. So, and what you do over here, this is not going to be your piece of art. This is going to be your canvas. And you're going to do whatever you want over top of that. So let's say you want a red edge. Now I want you to look at the way that I'm doing this, because I'm not being careful. I'm just kind of scribbling it on here, and that's okay. The faster you get it on here, the less bored you're going to be with doing this, okay? This works really well. Before you see the magic, you're going to say, Ann, what kind of art teacher are you? This is awful, but it really isn't for what we're doing. So I'm scribbling away, and I just want the edges to be red, I think. Okay. Okay, there, I'm done with that. Then I'm going to continue, and I'm going to take a blue, and I'm going to be kind of bold with that for now, so we can. And I'm just moving fast, which you would be doing. You can move slow if you want. I like to get things done quick. All right. Then the next color I'm going to use is going to be yellow. And that's the third primary color. For this particular one is the reason why I wanted to do this. These colors always mix really well, and they don't turn into muddy colors. So that's why it's a good three colors to choose. Okay, now what you have to make sure of is after you've spread out that coffee filter and you have those colors on there, I'm done. See this? Isn't that stunning? Wax paper for sure. And I would have some paper towel even underneath it, because surprisingly, you think wax paper doesn't leak? It does, really bad. So what I'm going to do is, hopefully you can see this well, is I'm going to now take one of these spray bottles, and I'm going to just, and it's full of water, and I'm going to just start spraying over top of this. And when I do, this is the best time. This is the fun part. When I do, it starts to blend all those colors together. Now, another trick you can do is take it and put it on its, flip it over and do a little spray there too. And then it's going to totally blend together. Can you see that? Oops, got on my computer here. Excuse me, I got a little water on my keyboard. All right, now, once that's dry, what you need to do, first of all, before it's dry, you take it off of the wax paper and you're gonna lay it on a paper towel. And don't put it on the best wood in the house. Try to put it on the kitchen counter, someplace where water doesn't hurt it, and then you're gonna let it dry, okay? The second way I'm gonna show you, because that can be, it's fun, but it's one at a time. This time, you're going to do 3 of them. You're gonna take 3 coffee filters here and keep them together, flatten them out, and then fold it in half like this, and then fold it again like this. Now this time I'm gonna let you use other colors, and I'm gonna kind of let you experiment with it, but you always try to have colors that kind of lay next to each other on a color wheel so they don't turn muddy like I said before. So I'm just going to use purple and pink, and I'm going to use a real light pink. No, I'm not, because I can't find it. This is the lightest one I've got. So I'm going to put on the edges. I want to try, and you're just going to do this marker on one of these triangle folds of the 4, okay? So, but I want the edge to be, have some violet and purple on it, okay? So I'm just gonna just do, and this is what's nice about doing it this way, is you don't have to do every stinking piece. You can just do a quarter of it to get the color on there. And then once you're done with that, the rest of it, I think I'm going to keep pink. And I'm just, if you notice, I'm doing different kinds of strokes, and I'm using the side of my marker because it'll cover it faster. If you have watercolors, if you're a watercolor person, you can do the very same thing with your watercolors. You can do it without a marker, but with watercolor. And that makes it kind of fun. But not everybody has watercolors at their house. Most people have these kind of markers at their house. So we decided we would try this first. Okay, so I'm done with this. And my next step again is going to be drenching it with water. You may be asking, well, what good is that going to do? Because you just got it on the top thing here. Well, I'm going to show you. So I keep spraying it. I hope you can see that. As I'm spraying it, it starts to blend together. And I'm going to spray it some more. It does? And you're going to be surprised when you pick it up. There isn't that much on that side. Hang on, Mackie. Shh, come on. Right here. Yeah. So keep on spraying it. And you got to let it kind of dry. Now, this one's very wet, and it's wet through. I'm pushing it down like this. And And you're going to see then it's now on the other side as well. And if it's on the front and if it's on the back, I'm going to open it up for you. You'll see that it's inside all of it, but you only had to color one side. But this is 3 sheets of this that you now have this color on. And this is the same thing. You're going to unfold it and you're going to lay it on a paper towel and let it dry. All right. So there's 2 techniques there that I've showed you. And now I'm going to show you how to put it together. And that's kind of the fun part. Once you get those into whatever colors you want to use, and I'm going to put 2 together. These are ones that I've done before that are dry. So I'm going to stick this, maybe these 2 together. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to fold them into 4. And then I'm going to cut the edges. This is where I'm going to use my scissors. You can do it any way that you want. Sometimes, like a couple of those flowers I showed you, none of the edges were cut. They were just folded and pulled out. But I'm going to do kind of like a scallop edge on this particular one. Now, this is once they're all dry. If you try to do it when it's wet, it gets all scarmy on the scissors and it doesn't work so hot. All right. So now I've got what I think I want my flower to look like. So I'm going to open it up. And then I'm going to take one of these stems and I'm going to poke a hole through the center. And it works better if you do one at a time. There's a little wire running through here that helps you do that. So you do it one at a time. You kind of poke them together. And then on the inside here, you just make a little knot, kind of a little ball here with this. You just kind of wind it around. And it doesn't have to be fancy because nobody really sees it, but then it won't fall back through the hole again. The next thing is I'm going to start to squish this all together like this. So I'm going to take the center part of it, squish it together, and then I'm going to wrap. You could put a little glue on there if you wanted to, but usually you can just wrap it around like this. And it's done. Then once you have that done, you start to spread out your layers. And as many layers as you put on there, it's a fuller flower, but you can do them all by just doing a triangle of 4 or 3. And then when it's all dry, put it together. It's really cool. I really love these. I got to tell you, I only started making these just to show you guys because I really hadn't done this before, but I couldn't stop making them. So when you start, it's really fun. So there it is, done, finished, looking like a flower. Now, if you make a bunch of these and give them to your mother, or your grandmother, or any other special person in your life, they will just be so impressed. And then the last thing I'm going to show you is the other thing that you can do before, like I scalloped this. If you remember when it was folded up, and I'll do it now, just these 2 real quickly for you. Oops, I sort of that one. All right. So you can do the same thing of cutting edges, but you can, it's always easier to do it when you fold it up. And then when you find your scissors, don't lose them. I'm going to make these kind of more like cutout strips. So there's going to be more strips on the end of these flowers. They're going to, you know how daisies have different petals, quite a few petals. They're fun to do these. So you can do this. You can do any kind of edge that you want. And it's going to be the same thing, the same process, putting them together, opening it up, sticking that old pipe cleaner, I got to say pipe cleaner, chenille stem into both of the centers, remember, one at a time. And you will find too that if once you're done, you might have to do a little trimming on some of it, and that's fine. But these are the easiest flowers that you can make. And with all kinds of colors and textures and shapes, and only with a coffee filter. You can imagine that, just a coffee filter. It's really cool. All right. And I'm squeezing this together now, again, like I did before. And I'm going to wrap that around real tight. Choke it. Oh, there. Okay. And then I'm going to start spreading this out the way that I want it to be. And you have to kind of play with it because he folded it back up again. And you may say, oh, I might have some fun taking a pencil and curling the edges of these, which you could do. You could take this, wrap it around, hold it for a minute, and it turns in, well, kind of, it'll curl. So that's my, hopefully you'll have fun doing this, and it'll be, fill your house with all these beautiful flowers for spring. And it was really, really cool to have the opportunity to do this with you, and hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I did. So I'm going to come back to me and say goodbye. Happy flower making.